Welcome back, crew. It's been a bit, but we are getting back into the swing of things, the brand new game of the month. This is a special one for our December game of the month. It was chosen by our Patreons. Big shout out to our patrons, supporters. I truly appreciate you. And our patrons chose the Fate Core System by Evil Hat Productions as our December game of the month. And even though we're a little bit late in getting started, it's going to get the full game of the month treatment, going over our first impressions today. And for those who aren't familiar with how we handle games of the month, after we do our first impressions, we're going to show you exactly how to build a character utilizing the Fate Core system. Then we're going to show you the core mechanics of the system, going over how to handle combat, how to handle adventuring, how to resolve skill checks, pretty much everything you need to know to come to the table as a player or even as your game master to run the system. And then we're going to go through a live actual play of the game. And this month, we're going to be doing that Monday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. There's going to be a link right down in the description. Click it, click like, click notify me, and come by and get a chance to see this system played out live at the table. And get a chance to win a free PDF copy of the core rulebook for one lucky viewer that joins us live. So make sure to do that. And this one we got a little bit of a treat. I'm actually gonna be the player seat. One of our Pandemonium players, Spirit, who plays Agni Jeet in the game, is going to be running the system for us. This is one of his favorite systems. He's had so much good things to say about it. I wanted to kind of sit back and enjoy this one as a player. I get to see kind of the best they can bring. So really excited to kind of see the adventure he's got worked up for us, and get to see how this all plays live at the table. So make sure to come by December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, and after that, we're going to go into a review of the system, breaking out everything that we liked about it, didn't like about it, or are excited for in the future with the Fate Core system. But with all that said, let's get into our first impressions. And if this is your first time watching one of our videos for the first impressions, this is just me kind of going through and leafing through the book, kind of seeing how the core mechanics work at a high level, kind of flipping through the art, the book style, and kind of discussing where this system fits into kind of what I've heard about in the TTRPG space. So let's dive right into it. One of the big things I will say for this system is it's a generalist system. And I kind of thought that's a cool area to start up front because some people, especially if you're new to the tabletop space, you may not be familiar with what a generalist system is kind of versus some of the other systems. So let's pick on like we'll compare it to Alien. So Fate versus Alien. So Fate is a generalist system. It's not designed for a particular genre. It's not designed for a particular story type. It's not designed for a particular setting. It's a system that is allowed for kind of allows the game master and table to tailor it to fit whatever setting, genre, story type they're looking to tell and play out at the table. It's one of those ones that you're able to learn once or learn as a player, the ins and outs, the core mechanics, and then work as a table to kind of tailor it to whatever experience you're going for. And you can kind of change it up campaign by campaign, going from a horror game all the way up to a superhero game down to a high fantasy game. And the system will be able to allow you to run it all with the core gameplay. And going back to our analogy there, so that's kind of what Fate, that's the end that Fate's on. Where Alien is kind of tailored to the Alien setting. It's tailored to a sci horror style game, where kind of players are trying to survive with an action sci horror mix. And it really wouldn't work to tell a comedy. You could probably make it work, but it wouldn't be the best one for that, or would be best for a mystery, let's say. It's kind of geared exactly to where it should fit in the market. So with this, it's kind of like there's a little divide. For some people that prefer the general systems, and some people that prefer the genre. Go back and forth. I've been a little bit more on the genre side lately, but especially the generalists are fun because they're a great way for a table to have a core background or core system that they can utilize, springboard, and tell a whole bunch of different stories, which I think is always cool because, well, I like to learn a lot of new systems. I know some of my players don't have the time or the willingness to go through that. This could be a great way to be able to kind of tell different stories while having a system that everybody's familiar with. With that said, let's go into the Fate a little bit more. So with this, as I said, Fate's a general system. It's also a lightweight, easy to run, kind of a more a narrative style system. So comparing it to some of the other big generals on the space, like Savage Worlds or GURPS, this should be on the lighter side, the more narrative side of running. It should be quicker, more of a conversation between the game master and the players, a little less crunch through kind of throughout the experience. So something to kind of keep in mind as you're going through. And as I flip through the mechanics, it seems to line up with that. It seems to be fairly quick and fairly easy to play. And I will say two things too. So there's two versions of this. We're going to be running the core system. There's also an accelerated version, which I got to play at Gen Con this year. A lot of fun. And that one definitely kind of felt that conversation, definitely felt very easy, quick to play. And one of the things I'll do as we're going through this series is kind of call out a little bit of the areas where I noticed some of the differences between the core system and the accelerated version, and maybe some tips and tricks going between them if I find anything that's of note or worth sharing. So keep that in the back of your mind. But overall, looking through the system, the book does go through and give a lot of good tips for both game masters and players for kind of working with a generalist system and kind of working it to fit the type of setting, story, or campaign that the players are looking to run. One of the things I liked and kind of jotted down as I was going through my notes for is it gives a really good description of what type of characters should be made, player characters should be made for this system. It wants characters that are kind of proactive, competent, and dramatic. And so this is a more narrative system. So it's one of those ones where you can kind of give players need to be active and make their determinations. It's not one where the adventure is going to be kind of set by the GM and the players are pushed through it or railroaded through it for whichever term you want to use. This will be one that's more the conversation, it can flows, ebbs and flows, kind of depending on where the players and the game master go in their conversation, which is why the players need to be proactive, need to be taking actions that can increase the drama both on the game masters and players side. And it kind of just assumes they're competent, they're good at whatever they're doing on that side. Really, one of the other cool things I saw with this too, especially with it being a generalist system, because the other generalist big one that I've covered on this channel is Savage Worlds, where a lot of the skills are a little bit more locked in and kind of able to be applied through different genres. This one, the way they have it set up are kind of skills and aspects, and they have a kind of skill ladder for it. It determines kind of what type of bonus you get. And with this system, there's a D6 dice resolution system and you kind of roll that to determine how many successes, failures you get, and utilize those points to determine kind of where you end up on the skill ladder. If you did something great, with a three, I think that is, that it's kind of hard to achieve, and it goes all the way up to a 10 and down to a -2. So it kind of gives you kind of good range on that side. But the thing I like, especially with it being a generalist system, is that there's not skills they've set for you. This is something that you kind of have a conversation with game master as you're building out your characters and you're building out what type of setting and story you guys are telling your campaign in. You got to go through and build your skills, build your aspects, and we're going to go a deep dive into skills and aspects in both our character creation as well as our core mechanics video. So if you're not sure what those mean, stay tuned. But it allows a lot of flexibility in kind of building out your character sheet and building out what your character can do, kind of regardless of the medium. And I'm really kind of curious to see how this is going to play out because we're going to be doing a superhero chapter. If you've watched the channel for a while, you know I love superheroes. So I'm really interested to see how Fate applies on that side and how the kind of lightweight narrative system that Fate's designed for, if it fits or if it does a good job at capturing what superheroes can do, kind of making sure the mechanics flow with powers and flow with the narrative. So really curious to see how that plays out. Outside of that, the other big thing I just kind of noticed, I flipped through the book. One thing that I wasn't super keen on is a lot of the art's in black and white, not anything too crazy there too. I always like to have one of my favorite things when flipping through any new tabletop RPG book is kind of seeing what crazy art they've got in there. Especially love it when it's kind of in color, a little bit bigger. But there's still some pretty cool ones, and like I like too with it that it's varied with a lot of different genres. You can even see you can the opening picture there's like so many different like types of heroes, different types of people on there. Just really showing that Fate is just able to be applied across the board. It's a general system that could really fit any type of campaign you're going for. But overall, this is a quick look at what my first impressions are for the system. Uh, I'm really excited to kind of get into character build, the core mechanics, and just kind of see how the mechanics uh, suit this general system, kind of are able to be tweaked and modified across genres and settings. we'll really be hammering that home as we get to the character build and mechanics videos. So definitely stay tuned for those. But definitely in the comments, shout out some things that you like about the Fate system, things we should pay attention to as we go through our coverage of it. And definitely stay tuned as we get into building our core PCs, the mechanics, and then our live actual play Monday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure to come by for that and get to see this system played on the table and see if it can fit the superhero style of story. But overall, thank you for hanging out. So we're getting back in the swing of things. I'm on PTO for the rest of the year. So there's been a lot of videos coming out. So we've got some fun ones coming out tomorrow for Christmas, and some other ones for the new year as well. So definitely stay tuned for those. Like, subscribe, and until next time.